All right, welcome to this nice little tutorial I'm calling Star Citizen Academy. My name is Black. I run a channel called Casa Black Gaming over on YouTube, and I also do a weekly news show with my wife where we talk about the latest news in Star Citizen over the past week. That runs most Thursdays starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm here today to do something a little different. Instead of this being one of my normal short formatted videos, like guides that I normally do, I instead wanted to do like a sit down walkthrough as if I'm like basically over your shoulder, giving you advice and telling you how to play the game. Because Star Citizen kind of has, I won't say kind of, it does have a kind of high barrier of entry for new players. So let's go ahead and get started. Right now we're on the main screen here. And so what you want to do is you want to go to Persistent Universe. Now, Arena Commander is if you're getting into flight and you want to do some practice combat with different ships, that's where you'd want to go for that. That's just single player, or it can be multiplayer. You can join up with queues and play against other players or NPCs. So that choice is yours. It's a good place to practice, especially if you like recently maybe bought flight sticks or something and you want to try to practice with those. It's a good place to learn how to fight. And so that'll be something later. Maybe we do, but for right now, we're just going into the persistent universe, or the PU as it's known um, amongst players. Also, there is a PTU, which is the persistent test universe, and you'll see that mentioned if you follow the game news at all, on various weeks, because it could be that they're running a test on the PTU. So the PU is the live universe, which if you want to, you want to do the whatever is the most current thing, you want to go to PU. If you want to test things, you're welcome to join the PTU. All right, so when you click on it, you're probably going to have a character creation screen. It's typical. I won't say it's a typical character creation because it's very detailed and it has some nice changes. You can make your character look really cool. So mess around with that, and then when you're ready to go, you should be on this screen. So what you want to do is your server location. You'd want to choose for your region. I just choose best. And then if you have friends, they're going to be over here. If you have them online, sometimes we like to look for servers that are, we'd say, better performing, which for us means less people on them. So when you have friends that are on, and it's good to have friends for this reason, is because you can just right click their name and it will tell you, it'll allow you to join their server specifically. Star Citizen does at the moment have some very weak social features. It is something that they're working on this year because they do expect a lot of new players coming this year because of Squadron 42. So social features are lacking right now when it comes to forming groups and doing things in a group or whatnot. So one of the things about this video series, I will tell you where Star Citizen is weak at. I will tell you where there's issues or bugs because a lot of things can be worked through, and it doesn't really necessarily take a lot of patience. It can be trying at times, and there are times that when things happen, especially if there's a new patch or something, there could be a newfound bug. What you have to understand about Star Citizen first and foremost is that this is a physicalized game. I'm going to talk about that a lot in this video series, especially this first video, because there's a lot that goes into that. This is not your typical game. The physicalized part of it is unlike. I'm going to go ahead and say it's unlike almost any other game out there. Because of the nature of that, that's why I'm not going to go into a whole thing here about why Star Citizen has taken 12, 13 years, because there have been missteps. But there's also the technical side of it, which is it's very high bar. So as we talk about these features and as you see these things come about, you're going to understand more why this game is so groundbreaking. So let's go ahead and get into what's going on here. But like I said, when you have friends and you want to join a server, you can go through your friends list and join the one that's going to have the least amount of people, because that's probably going to give you the best performance. So, that whole server format is going to change maybe this year to where it's going into a whole bigger server type thing. Instead of multiple servers, we're going to have like one shared universe, I guess. So that may not even be relevant at some point. But for now, let's go ahead and enter Star Citizen. You're going to have to choose a location. So unfortunately, I'd already chosen one here. But basically, you're going to have your choice between 3 systems. I would choose Stanton as a new player. And as far as which planet you choose, you have a choice of 4. I chose Area 18. Area 18 is the city that ArcCorp is the actual planet. So there's Microtech, ArcCorp, Crusader, and Hurston. I like ArcCorp simply because it's kind of centralized in the system. New Babbage is one that a lot of new players choose. It's a very nice city. It's in the snow area. There's a lot of missions there. Hurston is another one that has a lot of missions in that area, so that's another good choice. But basically, any of the four are fine. I would say that if there's a huge event going on, like there is at New Babbage right now, you may not want to go to that one because you could see some performance things going on there as more and more ships are there. You got to understand some of these ships are really big. So if you have multiple large ships in one area, I don't care what game you're playing, to have that many entities, especially as big as some of these ships get, your game is going to have performance issues. All right. So, anyways, like I said, I chose Area 18 as my home. You're going to start off just like this. This is your hangar. You can look around. You can see we have a terminal in front of us. This will be your ship terminal. The very first thing I'm going to tell you, as far as any kind of tip, is that you want to push F12 to get rid of the global chat. So I did that, and the global chat is now gone from the lower left. So this is the ship terminal. This is your personal hangar here. This is where you will call your ships up. Your personal hangar size, is it going to show me the size? Just say, yeah, if I look down at the ground, I can see the thing. It says Captain Vex's small hangar. So the largest ship that I have in my fleet is a small ship. So I have a small hangar. This is your starting planet. So anytime I say your starting planet or whatever, this is what I'm talking about. There's only one of those. It's the one you chose. So right now, this is my small hangar. If I had a large ship, I would have a large hangar here right now because that allows me to call up any ship from large to small. But like I said, I only have a small. So that's your personal hangar. That's your ship terminal. This is where you're going to see all your ships at. I'll go ahead and open it. As you can see, I have a Drake Clipper. It is stored. I will go ahead and hit retrieve. And when you do, you should have a fancy animation where the floor opens up, your ship is called, and it comes up. It is possible that they skip the animation sometimes and your ship disappears. That's kind of like the old way of doing things before they got a little fancy. One thing about, let's go ahead and talk about physicalization. So one of the things they try to do is they try to make sure that everything makes sense. And so ships just appearing is not something that's supposed to happen. It's supposed to be like, oh, it's physicalized, it comes out. So anyways, you can see how tall this hangar is. There's the hangar doors in the very front. They're closed until you call for them to open. So I just wanted to show you that's how the ship comes up. That's how it looks. If I jump on another account, I do have this is like a 0 to hero type account to where I just, this is one where I can just play without having a lot of stuff already on my account, and I can just start from scratch and kind of live out in the wild out of a van type thing. Let's go ahead and come over here. This is your personal storage access. This is where you would outfit yourself, gear up, and all of that. The way storage works in the game is that you have what's called local storage. So basically, where you're at, that's local storage. No matter whether you're on a planet like we are now at this station, if you were on this same planet and you went to another ground station somewhere, that would have its own local inventory. When you go up to a space station, those have their own local inventory. If you're on your ship has its own local inventory, okay? So keep that in mind. Your backpack, when you press I don't have any storage on me right now because your storage is based on what you're wearing. So right now I just have a undersuit and a helmet. This keeps me space safe, basically. But as you put items on, like different chest pieces, leg pieces, a backpack, you're going to see storage pop up, and we're going to do that in just a bit. Let me show you one more thing that the personal hangar has, which is the freight elevator, which is this over here. It is currently down. That's why there's a wall here. So you would come over to this terminal right here, and you would access it. And these are going to be the items that are at the station. The station is local inventory, but this is where you can bring things up so you can take them with you. You got to understand is that we don't have magic inventory here. So if you have items that are here on this planet, which every item that's attributed to your account, so your ship, if you've purchased any things with real money like ship paints or armor or weapons, or you have any gifts, any gifts or things that you've earned during events or whatever, they all show up here. So just because you're out and about doing missions or whatever during an event, and it shows at the screen that you've been rewarded with something great, it's going to show back up here. It's not going to show up wherever you are. That way there it's kind of safe and it makes sense. So yes, if you earn this new great piece of armor, you got to come back to your home planet and come down to your hangar, and you can access it here. All right, we're going to mess with this in just a moment. Let's come over here. Let's go ahead and equip ourselves. Yeah, you will see that there's a med area over there. It's supposed to be like you got somebody injured and you're bringing them here. They can access the medical center here if you take them there. So, although, yeah, you know what? I've never even used that because, so I honestly don't even think that works, but it is there to work, and maybe it does. All right, let's go ahead and come over here to our inventory. All right, so I don't want to wear this helmet. I'll keep this on. I don't have a lot of gear on this character, so I'll just wear what I can. Seem to have a lot of yellow. So when you hold your mouse over the stuff, you can see that it will show you. And if you don't have that thing, you just got to click filters up here, and it'll have all the different filters. It separates it out. Utility is going to be like your tools and things that you use. Of course, ammo, weapons, that's all pretty self-explanatory. Clothing, you know, you can wear clothing. You just I'd be careful wearing it in space if you're on your ship. Even on your ship, just wearing clothing can be dangerous without a helmet, because your ship could take damage at any point and life support could go out, so you wouldn't be able to breathe. Vehicles, these are things that are attributed to my vehicles. So like your ship components and stuff, that's going to show up here. You can't really do anything with those on this screen right here because this is not how you would do it. But anyway, let's go ahead and get my armor on. So armor, you can double click or you can drag it onto your body. So I'll show you both. I'm dragging, it shows you where to go. See, chest went on the chest. And all of a sudden, as you see, I now have storage over here because this chest piece has its own storage. Let's go ahead and put a helmet on. Let's see what helmet I got. This one's pretty cool. I'll do that. Which one? Yeah, put that on. I'm going to double click the arms here. I'm going to put a backpack. Let's talk about backpacks real quick. So my chest piece, as I hold it over here, this is a medium chest piece. Your backpack has to match your chest piece. It can be smaller than what you're wearing. So like if you have light armor, if you have medium armor, you can wear a light backpack or a medium backpack, but you cannot wear the heavy backpack. You'd have to have a heavy chest piece on to wear the heavy backpack. And you can mix and match if you wanted like medium arms and a heavy chest and heavy pants or heavy helmet or light helmet. You can mix and match. You can wear whatever you want. But as far as the backpacks go, that's how they are tied to the armor. All right, I just put the backpack on. You see that I now have 2 windows for storage here. If you put pants on, which I have some here, I will now have 3. Your chest and your legs, they don't hold a lot, but they're pretty good if you needed to put like some extra ammo or med pins in. Okay, so now I have my armor on. I'm protected. Let's go ahead and get the weapons. I suggest, I personally prefer these parallax weapons. These are bolt weapons, so they have like 2 different, so it'll start shooting regular shots like ammo, and then it arcs out into like a voltage type weapon. It's kind of a popular weapon right now. I'm going to go ahead and put that on my backpack here. I'm also, for the second slot, I would put something else on that one. I think right now I'll just put a sniper rifle. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. I just accidentally changed out that. Let me do this. Your backpack can hold. It can hold things like the sniper rifle. I can put. Oh, actually, I can't because it's a medium backpack. If I had a heavy backpack, I could put the sniper rifle in there because it's a little bigger. There are some guns you can put in there, of course, like pistols and stuff. Like I could put that in there. I could put. I can't put this. This is a rail gun. It's really big. See, so that wouldn't fit in there. I could probably put the shotgun. Yeah, there you go. See, I put the shotgun in there. All right, and then you can, of course, put other things in the backpack that you wanted to. We're going to save that for later. Right now, I will put the med gun on here. All right. And you have med guns and you have med pens. I'll show you the med pens in a bit. Let's go ahead and go to utility. The one thing besides a helmet and, of course, your backpack that you should always have on you at all times is a multi-tool. So these are multi-tools. I have different colored ones because there are different color ones you can find out in the wild. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on over there. As you can see, it's over here now. So multi-tools is called multi because it has different heads that you can attach or attachments. So this is a tractor beam attachment here. I can just drag that on there, and it's now a tractor beam. I can also, there's this tool here, which is a salvage/repair tool. You can't have more than one attachment on your head at once. I wish we could. So I would just put this one in your backpack. There's also a mining head, and then there's also a torch head. I don't really think the torch head does much. But anyways, always have a tractor beam of some kind on you, whether it's the one on your hip or there's a bigger one that we're going to buy that can go on your backpack. If you're doing a lot of cargo moving, get the bigger one. There are three different sizes of cargo. I'm sorry, there are three different sizes of tractor beam. There's the small one, like I have on my hip. There's a medium one, I guess large, however you want to call it, that goes on your backpack. That's a handheld one as well. And then some ships have their own tractor beams. Now, as the size gets bigger, so does the power. So your small tractor beam is not going to do so well with the larger boxes. I think it can still move the largest boxes, but it's going to have a terrible time maneuvering them, and it's going to be slow. The handheld one can move all of the boxes really easily. And of course, the ship one is really easy and better for longer distances. That's another thing. Each one of these tractor beams is going to have distance limits. I think it's 25. I think it's 25 for this one, 50 to 60 for the bigger one, and then the large tractor beam, I think it goes up to like 100 or something. So there you'll have uses for those. Here is a med pen. I have one, so I will put it over here. And we'll talk about ammo and med pens once I show you where to find that stuff and buy it. Because although the game has updates this year, it's going to have updates every 2 months, like patches. So we just had one in January. We're going to have another one in March, and it's going to skip a month and go to May, etc. When they have these patches, you're going to do this. You don't lose everything. The only things you will lose are consumables, which is ammo, drinks, food, etc., things like that. You should get everything else. Anything that you've earned in game should carry over. And again, on a new patch, you will create your character, start here at the starting thing, in the starter planet, and you'll do this whole process. So this process normally will take you anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, just depending on how much stuff you want to move. I do suggest that you do what I'm doing here whenever you first start out. This is setting yourself up. This can make it feel like the game can take a long time to do things, but this is just an initial startup that you would do your very first time playing. So if you do this and you get the stuff you need and you can get out of here and get up to where you would want to do your base of operations from, which is going to be up in space somewhere, um, this is going to help you. It'll be a lot easier going forward. So let's go ahead and get the things on our ship that we want to move, we want to take with us. And you're welcome to use your starter planet as your base of operations. It's just planets take longer to fly down and fly up from, and also to navigate. Sometimes you may not, sometimes when you log in, you may not actually be in your hangar. You could be back um, further in the city, further away in the city. So you could be like you could wake up in like an apartment, and then you'd have to take a train to get to the space station, to get to your hangar, etc., to be able to leave. When you're on a space station, you're basically just in a hab, and you go down an elevator, and you're there. Everything is a lot easier. You can also log out from your ship, which we'll talk about as well. That can save you time. But you want a base of operations somewhere where you know you're going to be doing a lot of things. So depending on what you're going to be doing, it could be you could be into mining. If you're going to be into mining, there's a certain planet or moons that you want to hit up, then you may want to be closer to that stuff if you have a favorite area. If you're going to do PvP or something, you may want to be over in Crusader because that can be a hotspot for that type of thing. You may not even want to be in Stanton. You may want to switch systems. So we'll talk about that as well. All right, let's go ahead and I want to take some stuff. So the first thing I need is a box. Okay, I happen to have a box because I've already bought one. Like I said, when you're on a new patch, if the things that you've bought or whatever are usually they come with you. So I hit the box, the container filter. These are the boxes that I currently have. These are all 2 SCU boxes. So SCU is just the unit of measurement here. They go from 1, 2, 4, 8, 12, 16, I think 20 or 24, and then up to 32 sizes. That's the size it goes up to. So we take the box. So when you move the box over here to this side, you double click the box and that lets you open this box up. So now I can switch this filter over here and I can start dragging things over there. So let's take this large backpack. Let's take this armor. Let's take this undersuit. Let's take this helmet. I'll take that helmet. I'll take my Star Kitty little outfit here. That's just an undersuit and a helmet. It is one of the rare undersuits that allows you to put a backpack on it. I think it's a light backpack or medium, but still, that's pretty cool because most undersuits don't allow you to put a backpack straight on. That's enough for those. Let me grab some weapons. Uncheck that. Uncheck that. Let's see. I will take a railgun. I will take, this is a laser point. I don't care about that. That's a sniper rifle. I will take this sniper rifle. I will take this extra med gun. Maybe that scope. I have a 4X. I have a 4X, yep. And there's an 8X scope. All right, I took that stuff. Let me see if there's anything else I want. I may take another tractor beam and multi-tool. Okay, anything else? I shouldn't have much ammo, and I don't. These are repair canisters, so whenever you have to repair your ship using that multi-tool with that repair beam on it, you need one of these on your chest or in your backpack. I'll take one just to take one. Your ship has a little inventory box inside of every ship, and they do provide you with fuses and some repair stuff for your ship in case you get attacked. So that is good to know. I'll show you where that is in a bit. These are vehicle components, so we'll talk about that in just a second. All right, that's all the stuff I want to do. So this right here shows you that I'm inside the box. So let me hit that. That brings the box back here. And now this is what I'm going to bring up on the elevator. Remember, anything that's down here is staying in the station. The things that you want to bring up on the elevator come to this side. Now that I've put my box in there and I double click it, you see the items. Back out. Now we're going to raise the elevator and you will see it come up. Why do you see it come up? Because everything is physicalized. All right. Okay. So in order to move this box, also this box here, you can go over to this one and you can push F and open it. And as you can see, these are all the items that are in the box. This is my inventory, my backpack, my chest, my legs. Okay. If you could take stuff out of the box, drag it over here if you wanted to. So like this right here, I can do that. See? Vice versa. All right. When you want to come out of it, you can just back away or push I. Now you'd want to move this on your ship, but however, my ship, there's something I need to do to my ship before we get on it and take off. So let me go send it down.
Welcome to the ASOP.
All right, store my ship. Okay, we're gonna watch it go down. So basically, when I told you that everything that you have, that you own on your account, starts off in your starter planet. Well, that includes all of your ship components and your ship paints. Okay. Before you leave here, what you want to do is if you have 1 ship or 5 ships or whatever you have, you want to go through here while you're still here on the starter planet. You want to go through and call your ships here and put anything on them that you want. So apply those paints, apply those components, because right now your ship and the components are here together at this location. And that's important. Whenever you open your ship panel for the first time, it's not going to say retrieve, it's going to say deliver. So what does that mean? That means that right now my ship is here at this station where I'm currently at because I delivered it. Okay, it's not in front of me because it's stored, but it is at this station. That means as long as it's here and it says that I can retrieve it, I can now go into the vehicle manager screen. So how do you access that screen? For all the screens that you're going to need, you're going to use your Mobiglass. You use your Mobiglass by pushing F1. So when you push F1, it's They basically, instead of cell phones, they use this little bracelet. So that's basically what this is. All of your apps or whatever are going to be on this little bracelet called the Mobiglass. This screen here just shows you like what ship you currently have used. This shows you your vitals and all that. As you can see, the environment and all that. If you can breathe here, it's safe to breathe, and all these other features. Some of these stats are going to come into play depending on where you are, like your external temperature. There are some planets where it's too hot or too cold, and you will start to die of exposure after so many minutes, even if you're wearing armor. There are certain armors that can protect against heat and cold. There's not much of that, and you would only use it for like maybe mining. But we'll talk about that in another video. There are also instances where radiation could come into effect, and those are fun instances, and that'll be something we talk about later. Also, you've got a crime stat here. You have you have different levels of crime stats. You have 1 or 2, which is basically misdemeanor type things. Those you can pay off. I'll show you where to pay those off in a little bit. If you murder anyone, you will get a crime stat 3. If you get a crime stat 3, you cannot pay that off. And if you go near any stations, you will be shot down and wake up in prison. Also, if you have a crime stat 3, suddenly a mission is generated for your head, and other players can come after you and kill you. And again, you'll wake up in prison. All right, so let's talk about these tabs down here at the bottom. Remember, you get here by pressing F1. All right, so these tabs at the bottom, this is your health. That's basically just a bigger breakdown of what we've already talked about. You've got your comms. This is where you're going to come to invite your friends. So this is the channel. If you were in a group, you would have a group channel here. And when you click on that, you would see the people in your group on this side. This is showing you everybody on the server right now. You click your friends. If you have friends here, you can go over here, right click, and invite them to party or other items. And then also you have pending, which you won't have to worry about. This is also where this friends tab here is also where you can contact the ATC, which is the landing services, for anywhere you're at. So right now I'm at area 18. So this is the landing services. If you're in your ship and you're ready to go, we will be pushing that, or there's another key option you can do. We'll talk about that. You have your contracts. That's where all your missions are located at. We'll talk about that more in depth later. This is your map. Right now it shows that I'm in my hangar. You can zoom out by rolling the mouse wheel, and you'll see that this is the planet we're on. You can double click that planet to go out. This shows you the ArcCorp little system. So basically, think of this as like if this was Earth, that would be Earth, and then you'd have a moon. This planet happens to have 2 moons, so you have Lyria and Walla. Keep in mind that when you click on these planets, you will see that it shows you the resources that are available there. It shows you that if you have a mining ship, these are the resources you could get through that. If you were doing hand mining, you could do these, and etc. And then you can scroll down, and it shows you other harvestables as well. If there's any creatures on there, you'll see that there as well. So that's a very cool feature. You can double click on that and get closer. As you get closer, you see all the different points of interest that are on that place. So you can go there. When you click on one of these, it'll show you what they have as far as amenities. So if it has a landing pad, if you can repair, that's what that wrench is. If you can repair, you can usually refuel as well. It may also have a trading terminal where you can go purchase items to go sell somewhere else for higher trade. I will tell you that most points of interest on these places are going to be dangerous. You'll know that because like this right here, it lets you know it's good, right? If you have landing pad and vehicle services, it's a good place. Like you most likely can't get shot there. I say most likely. Here you're safe, but there are other systems like Pyro where those landing places, they will have places like this where you can land, but they will be dangerous till other players could kill you there. But anyway, we're not there. We're in Stanton where it's nice and safe. If you click on Lost and Found, that's an actual outpost named that. As you can see, it's not really, I would assume it's not safe. You have ArcCorp security post again, even though it sounds official, they don't want you there. You're not supposed to be there unless you take a mission to go help them. If you fly to one of these places that's dangerous, your ship will get shot at. Again, there's a lot of security outposts because there's a lot of places to do missions. Washout's another place like that. But yeah, you'll get to know what you're looking for as far as the places that you can go. Um, just just know that many of them you cannot. Like if you see a mining, this one right here, mining area, see it's got landing pad and stuff, you're good. You could go there. So that's how you know. Security outpost, no. Mining outpost, good. All right. Anyway, that's the map. Let's go to the journal. Now, there's a lot of good information here in the journal, but most people, I'd say 99% of people don't even realize this is here or don't even use it. But if there's any questions you have, like you're like, oh, you know, how do I mine? Well, there is an actual, there is like a mining fundamentals, mining basic overview, mining fundamentals. It will tell you this stuff here, but most people usually just head straight to YouTube for things, which I'm grateful for. Salvage guide, again, more guides. Right now, currently, we have an event. It's called, what is it called? It's this Alliance Aid one. So there's basically a, you have goals that you can do. So you can do missions to increase your points here. Every mission you turn in for one of these 3 different items is going to give you points. This is only going on right now during January, February 2026. So if you see this video later, you may not have this, but there could be another event going on. These events are usually pretty fun. Some can be tedious, but this one has actually been pretty good. You earn a lot of rewards for doing that, and you can share the quest with others. So we've seen a lot of that. All right, moving on. You have assets. This is going to be. This is not. You really can't trust this, but you can try to use it if you want to see. Like if you're at another station and you're like, oh, I think I have a sniper rifle on ArtCorp. You can come here, click ArtCorp, and then it's supposed to show you, what you have here. It's just not been working very well like recently. You have reputation. That's what this one is here. So any missions that you do, you can earn reputation for. As you unlock new levels, it's going to give you more quests that are worth more money or whatnot. Covalex and Redwind, these are hauling contracts you can do, and like I've got up to junior on this one, which isn't very high. But when you go from rookie to junior, it's going to unlock new opportunities for you, bigger contracts, bigger missions, whatever, that are going to pay out more, and it's also going to ask you to move more, of course. You have your wallet. This is where you can, if you have friends and you want to send them money, you can do that. We have the landing services, which is where you refuel, restock your ship, and then we have the vehicles tab. This right here is where this is what we were. This is why we came here to begin with. This is where you would upgrade your ship or put things on it. Remember, now these are items that you must own. You can't just come here and buy things. This is where your ship and you're here at the same station that the parts that you want to put on the ship are at. Okay, you're all together here. This liveries is where you put your paint job on. So if you purchased a paint job or received one with your ship, you would put it on here. If I unequip it, see it's plain, equip it, there you go, and you have to save it. Then we have systems, okay? So basically, the systems are going to be like your coolers, your power plant, your quantum drive, your shield generators, okay? Your ship's probably going to come with crap stuff. I'm just going to be honest with you. Mine came with this ink one here. It was a grade D, as it sees over here. So I switched it out just by clicking on this and equipping it to a grade A. Now I bought this grade A. There's a great website called Urkel. Just type in Urkel Star Citizen, and you'll see that you can go there, you can select your ship, and then you can select any of these components, and it's going to show you where you can buy those components if they're available in a store to buy in the game. There could be components that are only available after completing certain events or finding them out in the wild. You don't have to pay money, like real money, for these components, thankfully. But yeah, these are goals for you to go out and seek. You want to get better shield generators, you want to get better whatever. The very first things you should seek, though, is a better quantum drive, because this one here came with a grade D, and I went out and bought a grade A. I will actually do that in a video after this one to show you, where you would get that, because you can buy this one. But the Atlas is what you would want to get for a size 1. Keep in mind that if your ship's bigger, it will have size 2, size 3 components, etc. But anyway, that's how you would do that. You would put that here. You'd save and equip your change. After you change out everything for your ship, you can also change out the weapons. So you've got missiles. These particular missiles, as you can see, their tracking is cross section. I like electromagnetic missiles personally. Those kind of seek out, I like those missiles. So you could go find those, buy them, and install them. See, it's also got these missiles here, which are infrared. Yeah, those are terrible. All right. You also have your guns. So basically, you click on this and it shows you that you have size 3. When you click the gimbal, so the gimbal is like the rotating part that the gun snaps to. You can change those. You could actually remove the gimbal if you wanted the guns just to face forward, but a gimbal makes it easier to actually aim and shoot and stuff. But anyway, I'm going to tell you right now that you're going to want laser repeaters for your weapons. So some ships like this one here, this one has laser cannons. That's what this Omniski cannon is here. I mean, cannons are fine, but they're slow shooting, and more than likely you're going to be fighting targets that are fast moving. So you'd want to have fast moving ammo or fast moving gun types, which is laser repeaters. For beginners, laser repeaters are what you're going to want to get. I have one here, so I'm going to put that on here. That's the size 3 repeater. And then I also have another one here, which is a NDB repeater. NDBs, you can only find these out in the wild. These Panthers here, you can find those on that Urkel site. You can buy those in game, like at stores, little shops. And then I happen to have 2 Gatlings here. Gatlings are ammo based, so they run out. Lasers do not run out. They just have like an energy pool. So it'll say you have 50 shots or 25 shots or something. And whenever it goes down to 0 because you've been firing, you just stop firing and it builds back up to 25 and then you can shoot again. Ammo will start off at a couple thousand, maybe 4,000 or something. And then as you shoot, it doesn't come back because you've lost those bullets. So the benefits between lasers and Gatlings or real ammo are basically that the Gatlings can penetrate through the hull faster. They don't, whereas the laser repeaters are going to hit more of the shielding on the ship and not penetrate the hull as much. So as you get better at combat and you know what you like, you'll switch from laser repeaters to whatever you do like. There are some weapons that can also drain, that can actually kind of drain the power of the components as well, which can also cripple a component or an opponent. So there's, a component and an opponent, yeah. So basically, you're going to learn more about combat later. I'm just giving you kind of a heads up. As a rule of thumb, laser repeaters are what you're going to go with as a beginner. All right, I'm going to save those changes. Avionics is not something we really do anything with yet. And then we have if you have like a little bobblehead, there's a place you could do that there. So that's it. The one thing I will tell you is that anytime you change your quantum drive, the very first thing you want to do is go to propulsion and remove this. So you'd unequip that, and then you would change your quantum drive. I'm just doing this as a test. I'm not keeping that one on. The reason is because this little module is attached to your quantum drive. Okay, so if you remove it, the system right now just gets rid of it, like it's gone. Okay, what this jump drive does is whenever you want to when you want to switch systems, like you want to go from Stanton to Pyro or Stanton to the Nix system, you have to go through a jump gate. And the only way you can go through a jump gate is if you have this little module attached to your engine. For whatever reason, every time you switch these, if you don't do this part first and remove it, then you lose it. So let's go back and put my Atlas back on, and then I'm going to put this back on. See, it's back on there. The good news is, if you happen to have forgot this and you go to jump, you get all the way out there to a jump gate and you go to jump and it's showing an error that you can't jump, there's a station right there at each one of these jump points. You can just go land at the station, put your ship down, and go buy that component because they all sell it because they knew this was a problem. All right, anyway, let's get out of here. My ship is now equipped. I'm going to pull it back up again.
Welcome.
All right, retrieve the ship.
Your vehicle has been delivered to the following. Please visit us again.
All right. Wait for the ship to come up. And we'll go ahead and we'll take a quick tour of the ship, and then we'll get into flying. The rest of this class here, I'm going to basically just get us to our first space station. And then from there, I'll show you that station a little bit. And then that will be the end of this particular class. And then I will do other classes that are like long form like this, just to show off the various mission contract things, and also doing things like going to get that Atlas engine if you have a size 1 too. That'll be something else I do. I'll show you how to go to a station, buy a component, and do all that. Yeah, so, and I'll have to do that for this ship in particular because my components don't even match, which is pretty bad. My guns anyway. I did have guns, but I had guns that I had found. So this remember, physicalized, right? So this gun here is a really good gun, and I had a full set on this ship, but because it was a looted gun, I think it was something that another player had probably duped or something. So I ended up losing the ones that I had found, most of them. So, all right, so we need to get our storage box that we created earlier onto our ship because we need to take it with us, right? So my ship has little buttons here. I have a ramp, and I also have an elevator. Yours is going to be different. If you have a single seat fighter, you'll have a ladder. So you'll go over to the cockpit and you'll see like the little blue button pop up like that. You may have a ramp in the back or whatever, but that's how you access your ship. Also, really quick about, I'll talk about the camera again in a minute, but you do everything in first person. You can go into third person by pushing F4. Push it again, you get a little different view, and you can run around like that. And if you want to try to play like that, you can. But I came from MMOs where I did everything in third person, so I'm not going to lie, I wasn't a fan of this at first. But I mean, every time you go up and you want to do something, you see, I don't see F because you don't get those visuals. I know to push F, but as soon as you push F, you go right back into that to first person. I get that may be a problem, but you get used to it. Like, you really do. And everything it's just made for first person. Third person is just more for your screenshots or whatnot. All right, so to pull out your weapon, you push 1 or 2 if you have a second weapon. To pull out your med gun, it'd be 3. See, I have a med gun on right now. To pull out any sort of industrial thing like your tractor beam, it would be 5. As you see, it's if you look at my multi-tool there, it says tractor beam. If I had remember I had other multi-tools or other attachments. If I had this one here, if I had that one on there and put it on, can I do it that way? Let's see. It won't let me do it from that screen. But if I had that on there, probably because it's in my hand. You see how? So this is a good example of things being physicalized, right? When I run my mouse over my body here, that weapon, I can drag that weapon. I can take it off if I want, and drop it on the ground. This right here, see, it's physicalized. I can touch it. My armor, my arms, my head, chest, legs, all of that is physicalized. When I go by ammo, you're going to see the ammo pop up on my chest. You're going to see it because everything that you do in this game is physicalized. Now let's go ahead and just talk about a little bit more what that means. Okay, so think of this. Okay, in your normal game, like if you're playing MMO, you play like World of Warcraft or something, right? You have weapons, right? And you can see your weapon on your back. You can see the armor on you, but you can't zoom into your character and like pull that armor off, right? And just drop it on the ground and it be there on the ground in front of you. Um, you might can drop items like that, and maybe other players can pick those up, whatever. But even then, they're usually not physicalized. Usually, the items in your backpack or whatever are not physicalized. If you have arrows or something, you don't see like each individual arrow, in the quiver, right? So any of these things here, you can just drop them, and they will appear as they do, like on the ground. Okay. Now, think about that, and then think about what we just went over with the ships, right? So your ship is physicalized. Some games your ship is not physicalized, and some games you just walk up to your ship, like No Man's Sky, right? You walk up to it, you push E or whatever to get into your ship, and you become the ship, right? Right? That's not what happens here, okay? When you come over to our ship, everything on the ship is physicalized. I can grab that with a tractor beam if I've unlocked the ports. I can go over you can go up inside the ship, right? I didn't push a button and suddenly I'm the ship, right? You're going to have components inside the ship as well. So let me put this up. Let me switch heads on this real quick. I'm going to switch to the repair head just real quick. Okay, now the tractor beam's in my thing, the repair thing is on there. I'll show you why in just a second. I'm going to go up here inside the ship. See, we're climbing through the ship, right? Now, what does this say here? It says power plant, right? Remember when we were on our vehicle screen? Oh, I'm inside the ship. I can't see it. But we had the power plant. It was on this screen over here. We had the quantum drive. We had all those. It was on the screen, right? Well, these items are in your ship, okay? So when you push up and you open this bar here, if you have the ports unlocked, which you do at the seat, let me just go do it. I'll show you. Let's go. Okay, I'm just going through the ship here real quick. This is the way to get up to my cockpit. Again, there's no quick thing here. There's no, push E to get to your cockpit. And you don't have that. You have to physically move your body, get there, sit down in the seat, okay? All right. I'm going to push the button that's, where's it at? It should, I think it's Alt and K. Unlock supports. Is it not Alt and K? What is it? Right Alt K? Yeah, we go. Right Alt and K. Unlocks your ports, right? See, it says ship ports unlocked in the thing there. All right, so I get out of my seat. And you can see here, I have components in here too. I have components here. I've got life support here. I've got, we have a relay here. So this is a fuse. So your fuse could actually blow. So this would be where you would come at to change that. But let's go back and I'll show you components. This is my bed here. This is part of engineering here, so we can go ahead and look at some of these items. You have an engineering terminal as well. We'll talk more about engineering later. This is a radar, and you have shields, right? Okay, shields are a component. Open that up. Pull out my little gun here. So when I hold my gun over that, you can see that it shows my canisters full, which is good. That means I have what they call RMC. RMC is a repair goo type thing. If this had damage, I could see that it was damaged, and I could shoot this. I could shoot the little gun here at it, and I could repair it, you know. But right now, there's no damage. I could also use my tractor beam. Let me do that. Let's switch it back over to tractor beam. I will say, instead of a med gun, you could have two different multi-tools on your hip. So you could have one that's a tractor beam and one that's a repair thing. And if you're an engineer, you would maybe want to consider that. All right, so I'm back on tractor beam. You see that it says tractor. See? I can pull that component out. I can place it. You can also, this is another way that you can change your components. You can go do it the way I showed you earlier, where we go on that screen on the vehicle manager. You can do it that way, or you can do it this way. And you can put it back in. See, it's green, let go, boom, it locks back in. So that's what I mean by when I say everything is physicalized, okay? The components that you have in your ship, you know, most of the ships, there are some of the bigger capital class ships where the components are too big, and they don't have a way to take them out, so you have to use the vehicle manager screen. But for the majority of your ships, that's how you would do it. You could come in, you can repair them with the tool, so long as you have repair goo ammo type, the repair goo ammo that I showed you. So long as you have that, yeah. Let me come back. I'm going back out of the ship. Okay. All right. Yeah, the ship's a little bit to get out, but it's got its own little charm. All right. So anyways, like I said, that's all physicalized, right? So come back out here and look at my inventory. So not only is everything on my body physicalized, everything on that ship is physicalized. All right. So I'm not going to go too far into this, but think about this, okay? Whenever you and all these items are on you, each one of those is like a it's data, right? It's like some sort of it's an entity, okay? Every entity on you and on your ship counts towards server performance. Okay, I'm just trying to explain. I'm trying to give you an idea of how big this is. Okay, so right now I've got 4 items here. I've got an undersuit, that's 5. I got a helmet, that's 6. I got a backpack, that's 7. I got a gun, that's 8. Legs, 9. Arms, 10. Medical gun, 11. 12 with that. That's 12 entities just on my body. Okay, that's 12 things that count towards server performance. My ship is an entity. Every item on that ship that can be changed, the guns, the components, the fuse, all of those items are all entities that all count towards that, right? Then also let's think about this too. Not only is it one thing to be able to move your character and have all these entities counting, but then you get in your ship. Okay, so now what you've done is you've taken yourself, who could have 20 entities on you, and you've gotten into a ship that also has 30, 40 entities on it. So now, and then you're nested inside that ship. Okay, and then this ship could actually go and get into another ship, a large capital class ship, and land on that. And that capital ship is going to have multiple players. Every player has all these entities on them. The ship itself has all these components. When you start to think about all of those things coming together, you start to realize that there's a lot more to this than just a game like World of Warcraft. And I'm not knocking World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft is where it is today because of how successful it is, but it's also a very different game. So when you try to compare something like this to any other game, even like Red Dead Redemption or something like that, or Grand Theft Auto, you have to understand that what we're dealing with here is tech that hasn't been seen before, and you can't find it anywhere else. The the fact that most of those games like that also use like what they consider sprite graphics, which are not truly 3D. That's another thing. We're dealing with 3D entities here. So that's just a little tiny background to let you know that the tech here is pretty damn special. All right, and again, we're moving a box. This box has entities in it. Okay, so those entities are nested inside of a box, and then this box is about to be nested inside of my ship. So when I talk about physical items, that's what we're talking about, and that's why it's so important. That should also let you know moving storage here is not like moving storage in other games where you can just you go to Agrimar in WoW and you have all of your items there, and then you go to another city, you go to Dragon Isles or you go to Dornigal or something. You go to one of those cities and you access your vault there. All of those items are there. They're shared across the whole database because they're not physical and they didn't have to be moved. Now that's important. Why? Because we just put our stuff on the ship and we're now going to physically take it somewhere. So let's go ahead and close the door. We've talked enough about what things mean, and hopefully you've got a little education on that. So let's go ahead and discuss the ship itself as far as functioning. My ship here is what they call a general ship. It is a new category of ship. It has a med bed here. Okay, so if I had injuries, like right now, look, my fluids down in the lower left corner is at 79%. I can top that off just by laying on this bed. If I've been injured with a tiered injury, and the tiers are 1, 2, or 3, with 3 being the least severe, tier 1 being the most. So as you see, my fluids went up. Now your ship may not have a medical bed. That's one thing. Every ship has different features, right? Mine happens to have a medical bed, and it also has a regular bed. A regular bed is what you would use to log out in. You cannot log out from a medical bed. If I was injured, I could go up here and hold medical care and check it out, and it would show. The one thing about this is that they've been really bad with centering these screens right, so this can be impossible or a pain in the butt to actually do right. But if I had injuries, I'd be able to click on stuff and repair them. And again, I held F to do this. Anytime you want to look at something, you hold F and move the mouse. All right, let's get out of the bed. One more thing about medical beds on ships is that you can set your spawn point to those. If you do not set a spawn point at all, you will always come back to your starter planet. So as you see, the T3, that means this is a tier 3 medical bed. Again, this is the weakest bed, I guess you could say. It can only fix tier 3 injuries. If you had a tier 2 injury, it'll help stabilize up to a percentage of that, but you'd have to go to a tier 2 bed to treat those tier 2 injuries. And you'll know if it's tier 1, tier 2, because there's like on your body, you'll, like if your arm's jacked up, it'll say tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 on the arm itself. Chest may say tier 2. You can clearly tell what tier you have. But anyway, when you want to set your spawn, you would come to one of these terminals, whether it's here or somewhere else, and you'd hit regeneration, and you'd hit transfer imprint. Confirm it, and now you can see your current regen location is the Drake Clipper. Now, if this Drake Clipper gets destroyed, then you lose this spawn, and it would go back to your home planet. Okay, but we're going to get to a station. Remember, I talked about how we're going to get to our station that we want to set up as our base of operations. We're going to set our med bed there when we get there. All right, moving through the ship. This ship also has a crafting bench, which is not yet available. I'm assuming this is going to be like a 3D printer type thing. But when crafting comes in a couple of months, hopefully I will be able to craft some cool stuff there. That's my elevator to get out. This is my ladder to get up to the cockpit. Also, my cockpit, this is where my normal bed would be at. So when you go over to it, you see it says F to sit. Now, you don't have to do that. If you hold F, it gives you more options. So I would want to lay down if I was going to log out. All right, and when you're in the bed here, you should see a prompt that says F to get up. Again, hold it, and it gives you more options. You could log out of your ship. To log out of your ship, you must be like out away from structures. So like out in the middle of nowhere, basically. That could be on a planet somewhere. You'd land out in the middle of nowhere, and you could log out from your ship. I wouldn't recommend that. I personally prefer to just fly up into the middle of nowhere in space and do it that way. Logging out on a planet can cause issues. Like when you come back, maybe your ship falls to the ground or something like that. Just log out in space. It's usually a lot safer, and you can just fly up anywhere and you can just literally just pick a point and just fly to it, and then just log out from there. Anyways, I'm going to get up because I don't want to log out. Logging out from your ship is a good way to be able to, if you have like after work one night, you only got like an hour to play or something, and you just want to go out and do something, you can just go do something. And if your ship has a bed in it like this, then you can just log out whenever you're ready, So that's the benefits of having a regular bed. All right, here's your seat. You press F to get into it. Go through the animation. All right, your ship will probably be off, so you would push U to turn it on. I just turned mine off just to show you. So you push U to turn it on. I told you about third person, right? You push F4 to get into third person. That's your third person view while you're sitting in your ship. You can hold either Z for free look. It could be F4 for you, depends on how your keys are set up. But yeah, if you hold Z or F4, you can move around like this using your mouse. You can get better views. You can zoom in by pushing the arrow keys. That may be F4, pushing the arrow keys forward or backward, side to side. Up or down gives you elevation views. You can get some amazing screenshots. This is, screenshot simulator at times. But yes, you can push I to turn your engines on. See there? Yeah. I turns them on. All right. But now that you've kind of messed up that default view, to get back to the default view, just hold F4 and push the star key over on the keypad. There you go. All right, that gets you back there. Push F4 again to go back into your view. All right. When we get up into space, I will show you how to set views. This is very important. This is something I use. Not everybody does, but I like to use that to land in certain things. All right. So, all right. So now we're looking at the dash here, right? If you want to look at all the different things on the dash here, just hold F, and then you can move your mouse around. This screen right here is showing you your power management. This is important because see, right now we have 2 pips into the guns. See, I have 13 of 18. That means I have 13 pips I can put into anything I want. So I would want to maybe fill up guns, with more. If it'll let me. It's not letting me do it. There it goes, power on. Okay. So I'll talk to you about modes in a second. Shields. Yeah, you can put stuff into shields if you need to. Here we go. Let's use them some. You can slide this so you can see your other components. Your radar is right here. that should be on. So make sure you click that to get it on. Otherwise, you can't scan targets or you won't see objects or something. So, all right. And then you have other screens. So you should keep that one on. You have other screens though by pushing. You can go to one of these other ones and you can change these down here at the bottom. This is a good one to have on here. This is a repair screen. So as you take damage, your components, they're listed here. And you see that these are 100 out of 100. So we have no damage right now. But if you were taking damage, right, and you don't have time to get out of your seat and go check on those components and try to repair them with that repair tool, you can just come here and you can use this one time, repair all. It's not one time ever. It's just one time basically per you've taken your ship back and repaired it. You'll get that back, like when you go back to a station and do a full repair. But when you're out in a fight and you all of a sudden you see you got some component issues, use that repair all button. And it does take time. It may take 30 seconds or something to repair the thing, but it'll come back not at full capacity, but at something for you. All right. I think that's basically the only MFD you need to worry about. I'll look at these other ones down here. You'll see things. You can see your status. You can see your target status, which you'll also see somewhere else usually. And then, of course, you have your radar in the middle. You have your compass here, which is here and also at the top of the screen up here. So basically, you can use that to mark where you need to go. Like you could, if you're looking for caves, it may tell you fly to this point of interest and then turn your ship 220 degrees, and travel in that direction. You may find directions like that, which will be on third-party websites, not in the game. Okay, so let's talk about, you got two different modes, okay? They're called master modes. So we have basically your combat mode, which is what we're in now. We're in the combat mode because up here at the top corner, the top left corner, you see our ship, and we have these numbers here, okay? Those numbers, each one of those numbers is our ammo for our guns. So 4,314. Those are going to be those Gatling guns that run out of ammo, and then the 75s are going to be the guns that are laser repeaters. You would generally want all those to be the same type of gun. Like I said, I don't have the right guns here, and I will be doing the second video is going to be upgrading our ship, so definitely look for that. But anyway, if this was right, all four of those would say 75. To get out of this mode, to go into travel mode, you push and hold B. Now you see that we've changed modes. What this does is it drops our shields and disables our weapons. But we now have quantum drive. And we have quantum drive because down here at the bottom, we have our engine and the shields are now gone. These are still showing on, but you can't shoot. And then you also have the quantum drive here that shows the power. So we have, but again, your shields are down. What this does is when the idea behind master modes is that you can decide to either fight or run, okay? If you're in fight mode, you go slower. So that means you could outrun someone who's trying to shoot at you. If you decide to fight, you go slower, which kind of slows things down for combat, and you also get your shields back as well. Now, they're going to change this in probably between now and either the end of this year or next year. They're going back to the old model, which is that you can have your shields on you can have your shields on and your guns on and also quantum travel. So it's going to go back to that, but for now, just know that you have to be in two different modes. If for whatever reason you can't quantum jump, make sure you're not in the weapon mode. All right, so we're in this mode. Our ship is turned on. Okay. It's time to leave, right? So we need to learn how to fly. Like, you need to know what are the basic maneuvers for, just flying, right? While you're in your hangar here before we leave, you should have enough room in your hangar to where you can try things out a little bit. So push space, just tap it. Don't hold it. Just tap it, bring your ship up. Okay, that's the space bar. Control will send your ship back down. So push control. Okay, that's up and down, right? Up. All right. Then you got your WASD keys, right? So A is going to strafe that way, D strafes back, see? Side to side, side to side. W goes forward, S goes backwards, right? WS. Pretty basic, right? That's how you move your character. Okay, but then you got Q and E. That's roll, see? Roll, roll, side to side, roll, roll, side to side. Okay, right? We're good, right? So you got those are your basics, right? Next, we want to introduce the mouse. The mouse is what kind of pivots the ship, right? So when you move, looking at the center, you got that little tiny dot there. See, when you start to move your mouse, you see what happens? This is you controlling the direction of your ship, right? Your other ones, your A and D, that was just side to side, right? But to control the actual movement, this is your three-dimensional movement, okay? Because we have three-dimensional space when we're in space, right? So see, you move up, down. Now the problem is with a mouse is that that line, let's go back and look at the interior, that line can get too long, okay? Also, if you don't bring it back to the center, you're going to keep moving, okay? So I'm going to leave it here, right? My hand's off the mouse, right? But because I didn't center it, see, I'm slowly drifting, right? This is what will cause you to have accidents, right? Not paying attention to that. So just bring it back and it stops. See, if the longer you are, the faster you are too. See how fast I'm moving? All right. You're like, oh my God, I'm losing control. Oh my God. And you start moving your mouse all around. You start going crazy. Yeah. Bring it back to center. Just always bring it back to center. Okay. Oh my God, we're messed up. Okay. So now we can just turn ourselves around a little bit. Also notice that our ship started pitching, right? So counter it. Q and E, right? That's the rolls. See? Bring it back over here. All right. Now, what I will say whenever it comes to us talking about using a mouse versus a keyboard and mouse versus flight sticks, okay? So with that, I'm using flight sticks right now, okay? That's what I'm using. All right. I personally like flight sticks. I used keyboard and mouse for 1.5 years before I switched to flight sticks. When I did switch to flight sticks, I was looking at the 1600 Thrustmasters, but I was reading reviews, and after 1 year or so of use, maybe 2 years, they would start to drift. Sometimes they could break because they're not quite as sturdy as like more expensive flight sticks. I went with medium flight sticks as far as price range. I went with the VKB Gladiators. Again, I did wait 1.5 years before I did purchase these. I was on the fence about doing it. When I first started playing Star Citizen, it was more about, hey, I want to get this ship, I want to get that ship, right? I wanted to build up my fleet a little bit, and I did that. But at one point, I was just like, you know what? I really want to switch to flight sticks. Okay, they're not necessary. You don't have to do it. And I'm not even a fighter pilot, but I still find great value in it. One of the things I do find value is the fact that I don't have that when I'm using my direction. You see, I don't have that line like you do with a mouse. Okay, this is the flight stick I'm using here, right? Up, down, all that. Yeah, you don't see any line. So when I let go of the flight stick, it stops. Now with the mouse, you see, you've got the line. Okay, and that can cause issues. So just something to think about, guys. I'm not sponsored by VKB. I'd like to be, but I'm not. All right. So you know how to move your ship, right? Let's land. Okay. Now we need to get these doors open. How do we get these doors open? Well, you've got two options. You can either do the keyboard shortcut, which if you never know if you don't know what your keyboard shortcuts are or where to find them, you go to options. You got bindings. These are the basics here on this screen here. We're flying right now, so you can see flight. They do show you like some of the stuff here, but that can be confusing. So basically, you can go to advanced controls here. This is even probably more confusing because there's so many options. But for anything that you're doing with flight related, you would come over here to flight movement right here. And it's going to show you like a lot of the keys. And this is something you'll probably start as you're flying or doing things. You're going to be like, is there a key for that? Yeah, I can tell you right now there's a key for that. There's a key for almost everything that you need. But to call the ATC, request landing right here. See, you have request landing. Auto land, I wouldn't count on using this. Like you have to physically land. Like that doesn't work half the time, and it may not land the way you want it to. So don't use that. In fact, I'm just going to get rid of it. All right. Anyway, request landing. That's how you do it. Left, Alt, and N. There's a second way you can do it too. I actually showed you earlier. You can go to your Mobiglass, push F1, and you can go to Comms, and you can go to your friends, and you can push that right there. So let's push that. Escape. As you can see, the doors start opening. See, I'll go to third person, you can see that. Okay, we can go up. All right. I raised up while I'm waiting for the doors. I would lift my landing gear up, but however, my wings fold out, and I wait till I get outside for this ship. But yeah, you would push in. Make sure you understand that when you push in and your landing gear comes out, you go faster. All right. So we talked about physicalization, right? We've talked about that a little bit, I think. I'm just kidding. It's been a lot. All right. So these are your hangars here. I just flew out of one, but those are the small hangars there on the side, right below where it says AC at. So I just flew out of there. You got to understand that there's other players here too, so they will be flying in and out. So watch out for them. But you have different size hangars depending on your ship. So over here we have like the extra large hangars or whatnot. So you may have to land there. As you can see though, these are a drop down hangar. Okay, so let's talk about drop down. Okay, if you have to land into a drop down hangar, that means you would be going down like this into the hangar, right? Well, there's an easier way to do that as far as like your view. Now, most people fly like this, and that's fine if you want to only fly in first person. I'm more comfortable in third person. But even with this, you could still switch to look at your camera, right, to make sure you're lined up right. Okay, so I don't want to get impounded. So let me get away from the door here. So if you want to set your view, and this is good for landing on planets too, there's a way you can do it. So hold F4 and drag your mouse. Wait. Sorry, it's Z for me. My free look is Z. So I drag my mouse and I have this top view, right? Now, while holding F4, I can zoom in, I can make it prettier or whatever, I can line my ship up, but however you want to get it, let's move it back. Okay, see how I got this really good view now? I can back out a little bit, actually. Okay, so I got this view. I like this camera view right here. If I wanted to land straight down, this would be a really good view, right? But I don't want to have to use my mouse every time I go to this view. So if I hold F4 and then push one of the number pad keys, so I'm going to do 3 because that's what I always use for my top-down view. So hold F4 and 3 together at the same time for a second and let go. So now if I push F4 and go back to that reset view, that's our default, right? F4 and star. Now if I hit F4 and 3, I go to that. So now that is my landing view. If I need to land on a top-down hangar, and then I can go F4 and star, F4, 3. Now you can set up as many views as you want. You could have a side view if you wanted, so you can do that right there. Maybe you put F4 and 4 as your side view, so I can go F4. I can go back to my star, F4, 3, F4, 4. See that? There's your quick views. That's how you set those. But yeah, so like I said, if you have a ship that goes into that view there. Also, these views, they're per ship, okay? Because the ships are different sizes. So what works for this to go into F4, F4 and 3, may not work for a bigger ship because the ship's bigger, and so you'd have to, so these are locked to specific ships. So if you have a second ship and you go and push F4 and 3, it's not going to do anything until you set it for that ship. All right, let's get the heck out of here. All right, so let's aim our nose up, and as you see on the left-hand side of our little thing there, that is your speed. You control the speed with your middle mouse wheel. See, so it goes up or down with your middle mouse wheel. Okay. Keep in mind there's a color there. So like the top of this is red, this is yellow, and this would probably be green down here. Those are safe speeds. Safe speeds are important for whenever you're going into land. Now the number is rising on the right-hand side. That's your altimeter. That's how high we're going up. If you see in the middle there, it says disabled in atmosphere. That's our quantum drive. It is disabled in atmosphere. We must first reach a certain height. Usually for planets, it's going to be around 9 to 12 kilometers. For moons, it can be like 5 or 6 because you don't have as much atmosphere. See, now it says online, right? So now at this point, we have traveled that far. That's the city down below behind us. Okay, see, everything's physicalized. You can still see it. You can fly from what you see, you can fly to. You can do it fast or you can do it slow. Now, there are some places where you can actually see the space station above you. I don't think you can see the one here. But yeah, you can actually see the space station above, like at Microtech when you're on New Babbage. You can, as you come out of the hangar, you can look straight up and you can actually see the space station up there. And you can either fly there manually like this, or you can go in and, and jump to it. All right. So let's talk about how do we jump to places. As you see now, because our quantum drive is online, you see all these little orange icons, right? What are those icons? Those are all possible places to jump to. Okay. And you're like, whoa, that's a lot of places. And it is. Okay. But for our purposes, we are going to look for what are called L1 stations. Okay. So let's go back to the map. That's F2. Remember, it opens up on your ship. Or opens up on your current location, which is our ship right now. This is my ship, and this, it doesn't look like my ship, but that's the different floors or whatnot. Roll your mouse back to zoom out. Okay, so this is where we are. Okay, this is area 18. Let's zoom out to the full. This is the full planetary view. Okay, let's go out to the full system view. Okay. All right, this is Stanton. See, Stanton? You've got your big planets. Each ring is a planet, right? So this is the Microtech ring. This is the Hurston ring here. This is the Artcourt ring, the one we're currently on. And this is the Crusader ring, right? If you want to go to any of these, you would just click on them. So like if you want to go to Crusader, if you wanted to go to that, you click on it. Remember I told you when you click on a planet, it's going to give you what's there and all that. That's cool. But for our purposes, I want to set up my base of operations at an L1 station. Okay, so every one of these planets, they have these two stations there, right? There, as you can see, this is Crusader, so that's Crew L1. It also has an L2, which is Crew L2. ArtCorp, same thing. This is where we are now. We have an L2 and we have an L1. Okay. Now, I like the L1 stations for many reasons. I will tell you that every planet, not moon, the four major planets, they all have their own station right outside orbiting. Okay. Let's get the view here. Sorry. Okay. So this is ArtCorp, the planet we're currently on, the one we started on. This is where my starter planet was. Okay. As you can see, it has this thing here called Beijing Point. That's a station right there. It's a very good station. Your orbital planet stations are a viable choice to use as your base of operations. They have certain things that, every station has something that the other ones might not have. Okay. I prefer L1 stations because they have the things that I know I'm going to need. They have a medical place, which most stations do. All L1 stations will sell you ammo and armor. So if you ever need those things, they will have those things always at every one of those. Some of them may not have armor. Some of them may not have weapons that they sell. Some of them may not have industrial things that you might need. The L1 stations will have refineries. So if I decide to go mining, I can make an L1 station my base of operation. If you're going to do more cargo, maybe you want to make these other stations outside the planets, the orbital stations. Maybe you want to make those your operation, your base of operations. But for me, I'm not going to go to that. I'm going to go to Arc L1. So I can scroll out and find it that way. Is that one? That's Arc L2. It's this one. These are little station icons. Okay, I can do it that way and hit route, or I can just go up here and type L1. And this is going to show me the 4 L1 stations. So I'm going to choose Arc L1. I'm going to hit route. So long as you see the orange navigate, the orange line there, the orange route line, you're good. You can just, you can now, you see the little orange icon over here on my right. You would just take the ship, that little circle there in the center. You just want to line that up with that. You're going to see this little bar go up. It's calibrating. And whenever it's ready, you just push and hold the left mouse button and you start traveling. Now, there are moments where you set your route and that orange line doesn't come up, or maybe it does come up and it's still, you find your little marker, you point your ship at it and it won't do anything. If that's the case, sometimes this is where a bug will come into play, right? If that happens, it's nothing major. What you would do is you would just go to F2, your map screen, scroll back, And then you would basically see where it says your destination over here. Just cancel it. And then just find a point. Like, see, when you cancel it, you see all these points come up again. So at that point, you could just blind jump to something. Like, and I'll show you specifically, because this will happen in the next video. I'll show you blind jumping and what you would look for. But that's how you would do it. If for some reason you can't jump for something, just jump to something else, just briefly, stop it, and then try again. Kind of like start and restart, right? All right, so here's the station I'm going to. These stations are like out in these like, little clouds, like it's not really a nebula, but little gaseous cloud things. So you can hit tab to scan. And when you do, you see all these unknowns, right? See those? Yeah. You can't really tell what those are at this point, but if you push V, that's the scan mode, you start to see numbers pop up. If you see the little number on top of in the middle of my screen there, 9,700, 4,700, those are signatures, right? And we're gonna get into those later. I just wanted to show you how many of those you could possibly see in these areas, because these can be good areas to go salvaging in if you end up getting into salvage. Push V again to get out of scan mode. All right, let's go back. Let's get to our ship. Let's go land. You guys remember how to call to land? You can either do left alt N. You need to be roughly about 7 kilometers from the station. I'm there now. So now I can call. I do want to tell you about the speeds. Remember we had the speed. You use your mouse wheel to scroll up and down. When you're coming into a station, you want to be around 250 or 200. You don't want to go too fast because you will slam into the side of these things trying to land. Let's go ahead and call.
Please proceed to assigned landing.
All right, you wait for them to show you where it's at. You look for that little thing, see that little marker there? It says my small hangar. So I'm going to fly up there. Depending on the size of ship, you could have one on your hangar could be down below. These hangar doors will close. I'm not telling you to rush, because if they start closing on you, just push the button again to call, and they should open right back up. Also, you could possibly be in a queue if there's more players here. We have some busy areas right now because of the event, so if you go there, you could end up in a queue where you have to wait. It'll tell you you're 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th in line. All right, as you come in, landing gear in. Okay, that's going to slow you down, and it's also going to allow you to land. Remember, we're doing everything physical here. Everything has to be manually done. Okay, and then when you land, as long as your landing gear is down, you'll hear the doors start closing behind you. Okay, let's take a look. I'll show you. See the doors landing behind? They're closing. Okay, that's how you know your landing gear's down and you landed appropriately. All right, so we've landed. Now, anytime you land somewhere, it's a good habit to get in to go push F1 to open your Mobiglass. Go to your landing tab, and now you can repair and refuel. Okay, so we have 1 SU damage. Probably I came down too hard or something. And then your quantum, you definitely want to do that because you don't want to run out of gas. And then here's your other fuel. This is for like your maneuvering thrusters when you're in the atmosphere or whatnot. So like we burned our thrusters to get out of atmosphere. That's that fuel. All right. And so, yeah, once you do that, make sure you hit I. I'm sorry. Okay. Make sure you hit I to turn your engines off. You don't want to leave those on while you're on the ground. If you're in space floating, like if you need to, if you are in the middle of space with your ship and you want to, get out into an EVA around in 0G, leave the engines on. But if you're on the ground, parked somewhere on a planet or in a station, turn the engines off. The reason is because if you're on a planet, you leave your engines on and you exit your ship could end up blowing away. Basically, if there's high winds or something hits near and causes the ship to move at all, they can make your ship literally blow away. But if the engines are off, it can't do that. It's like basically being, propulsion's basically dragging it along. If you're in space, though, you need the engines on, otherwise your ship will float away. So it's opposite. Just keep that in mind. All right, hold Y to get out of your seat. All right. All right, I'm going to exit the ship. I'm going to exit the ship. Remember, we have cargo we need to get out of here. Okay, let's do this. All right, let's go down here. All right, good. Sometimes you bump back on the ladder. It's annoying. All right, let's get my tractor beam out by pushing 5. Ramps down. Oh yeah, by the way, on these so on ships that have cargo grids, you see the purple. That's how you know to lock it in. See, you let go. You just as soon as you see it purple, you can let go and it locks into place. Come here. Yep. See there. Some grids may not have purple, so I can still put gear like over here, even though it doesn't lock into place. Just keep in mind it doesn't lock into place, so it could move around, shake around, or whatever. It could end up actually like shaking too much and like clipping through the ship and going out into space or something and losing it or whatever. So that's a possibility. Just being honest. All right, and then we're gonna move. Oh, cargo elevator's over here. We're gonna take this to the cargo elevator. This is how we're gonna drop our stuff off at this station. Okay. All right. It locked into place as you saw. You can leave your ship out if you want, or you can go put it up. There's a ship terminal here as well. You have one here, and then one over there by the door. This one can be convenient if you just want to bring it up or down while you're messing with freight. So I'm glad they put one there. All right. So we go over the freight elevator. This is our freight. The elevator is currently up. See, it says raised. We're going to put it down. All right. Once it's down, you want to bring it over here, open it, and then we just want to drag the stuff out of here into our local inventory, or the warehouse as it's called here. You just drag it all. You can hit select all shown and move it all at once, but sometimes that doesn't work. Not gonna lie, just being honest. So even though it's more of a pain to drag it, I just do it. Inventory is supposed to be getting a rework in the next month or two. Hopefully it's going to make things, it's going to get rid of database issues and stuff that we have and make things smoother. All right, back out of the storage box, drag the storage box back over there, and our stuff is now here. We have brought stuff up. Now you're probably thinking, oh my God, this video is what, an hour and a half, whatever it's at right now, 2 hours. And you're like, oh my God, it took him 2 hours just to get here. No, it took me 2 hours to explain everything. It's only going to take you like 15 to 30 minutes to do what I just did. This was like full education. All right, so all the items that I have, you'll be able to see them here. Just make sure you sort. So there's everything I just brought. See, Arc L1 is the local station. That's where we flew to. I still have the stuff on my backpack. I'm going to put that stuff over there, or some of it. I don't want this gun here either in there. So the only things you want to keep on your body, besides your tractor beam, always have a tractor beam. But the things you want to keep on your body are going to be med pens, maybe a mining attachment, which I'll go buy. Drinks, you need drinks as well. And remember, I had that med pen in my backpack. Let's put that here. Remember, physicalized, you can actually see it when you put it on there. All right, let's go buy some stuff at this shop. I'm going to show you what these stations have, why we're here. So we come over here to the elevator. Call the elevator. All right, I'll do that in a minute. Let's see. All right. These are the different options you have. We're going to get, if you don't know where you're going, just hit lobby. You don't need those other ones though. Pad 1 and all that, that's external pads. We'll talk about those at another point. You can also call your ships here. So like, you remember how I had a small hangar? If I landed with this ship here in a small ship, but I had a large ship, I'd have to come up here to call out a large ship. So that way there I'd get a large hangar. You can't land in a small hangar and call out a large ship in the same hangar while you're standing there. You'd have to come out of the hangar. So it makes sense, right? All right, you can store your ship while it's here. I'm not going to. All right, so these stations here, they're kind of all set up the same. You know, you have your medical clinic over here. You should come here first when you come to this place for the first time because you want to set your respawn point. If you were injured and your medical bed couldn't handle it, like you had a tier 1 injury, but you only have a tier 3 medical bed or something, you can come here and check in. They'll give you a room number. Hey man, watch out. And they'll give you a room number. So let's say they give you room number 1. You come over here to this office or this room. It would be open for you. Go lay in a medical bed and push the screen to, cure your injury. But you're looking for the insurance terminal to set your spawn. The screen looks the same as the one that was on my ship. As you see, this is a tier 1 regeneration, which means these are tier 1 beds. That's what you're going to find in a hospital or a clinic. So your worst injury can be treated here, no matter what. There's only, I think, one ship right now that currently has a tier 1 medical bed. Maybe there's two, maybe one of the capital class, but the Apollo, the medical ships, they have tier 1 beds on them if the person has it set up that way. All right, so my current regen location is my Drake Clipper. I want it to be here because if I lose my Clipper, I'd have to respawn, on the home planet. But I want to always respawn here for now, so I'm going to transfer it. Hold on, I was talking too much. Screen went dead. Transfer imprint. Confirm. It shows now. Current regen location is Arc L1. All right, so that's set. You can also go to the pharmacy. So let's go here. Let's buy more med pens. So there's med pens. I'm going to buy, I don't know, 10 of them. There we go. All right. You can also, there's other pens you can buy as well. So depending on what your injury type is. So let's say you have, you've been poisoned, or let's say maybe you need a detox pen or something, or decon pen, or opioid pen if you're suffering from pain. Maybe you have a broken bone or a head concussion. These pens here are going to give you, if you know what your injury is, you can use one of those instead to actually help with that symptom. It's going to give you more mobility, maybe in your arm, or if your head's hit or whatever. It's going to make you not so dizzy, versus just using a med pen, which is like generic. But honestly, most of us just use med pens unless you're in the medical profession. However, there's another thing you can use as well, which is a med gun, which is what I already have, the white gun here. And this one here, it does a little bit better, and plus it has actual settings on it that you can dial in for those specific injuries. So that's something we get into at a later point. This med gun uses this refill right here, so you can buy one of those. It does come with one in it, so you don't have to buy one right away. And it treats quite a few injuries before it runs out. Another thing too is that they sell something here real quick. They for those, if you have a med bed, it does take a fuel, and that fuel is something called med gel right here. And these are expensive. My ship on it had 200,000 worth, so it had 2 of these in there. I think a regen cost 50,000. So if you died 4 times, you use up all the gel, and you have to buy more to put it in the bed. When you reclaim your ship, they will charge you for that. Like when you reclaim. I'm sorry, if you repair your ship, and you've used that med gel, it will, of course, restock it, but it'll charge you. If you reclaim your ship, like you've lost it, you don't get charged for it. It'll come with, it'll come full again. All right, so when you come on these stations, they have this inner station transit. This is the elevator you use to travel within the station. This doesn't take you to your hangars. This takes you to the different floors in the station. Okay. So let's go here. All right, we have 3 choices. Currently, we're on the hangars and halves floor. Let's go to the Galleria. This is where all the shops are going to be at. So like I said, the L1 stations, they have at least a weapon shop and an armor shop. Armor shop's right down there. So you come over here. You can buy guns here and ammo. I'm after ammo. Remember, the gun I have is this is the Parallax, okay? Piconalia. Piconalia is just the skin on the gun. This is from the Luminalia. This is the little Pico penguin version. It's got a little skin on it. But Parallax is what is the information I need. I don't need energy assault. I need Parallax. So I can come here and just type in Parallax. There's my Parallax ammo. You can't type in Pico. See? You can't type in assault rifle. See? You need to type in Parallax because that's the name of that rifle. I'm going to buy some ammo, so let me just buy like 10 of them. All right. If you do quick buy, it just buys 1. So just go down here and click buy. The other things that you might be interested in here, you have categories you can go to. They have like various weapon attachments. Again, these are physicalized. Let's do a grenade. I'll buy a couple of grenades. So these items are physicalized, so you'd have to drag this onto your gun. Like if it's like a barrel, like a veil, like a flash hider, you can drag that onto the nozzle, or not nozzle, but the barrel of the gun. Ammo you don't drag onto the gun, but you drag onto your chest. I'll do that in a few minutes. But the miscellaneous tab is going to have a couple things we could use. Has med pens. It's also got this drink here. So let me buy, let's say 20. Okay, I bought 20 drinks. What else does it have? Anything else? It's got fuses if you need fuses for your ship. It's got food. The thing about this yellow drink here is that it will give you food, and it shows you right here. It gives you hydration and food as you drink it. So they're kind of like a one-stop drinking food thing. So it's not super tedious. But you can get additional, I think, benefits. Like I've heard if you drink certain things or eat certain things, you don't have to drink as often. So, but most people just go with the cruise lux. All right, so now that we bought those things, they're going to be here, so we can use one of these handy terminals that's located. This is similar to the one that's in our hangars, or you can go back to your hangar and do it. So I bought some stuff. What did I buy? I bought ammo. So let me just grab, like, I don't know, I'll split this up in about 5 or 6. I'll put this in my backpack. I also bought some drinks. Again, I'll split up in about 5 or 6, and then drag them in my thing as well. So now I have these in my backpack. So I'm pretty much ready to go, right? I've got, let me drag my ammo. See, when you drag it, you get these little things. This is putting it on your chest. There are certain like heavy armors or whatnot that can have like up to like 9 ammo slots in your chest. When you run out of ammo on your chest, if you have ammo in your backpack, you can use it. It's just slower because you're having to like reach around your back to pull the ammo out, so it's not as quick to reload. So you can use that as an emergency, but I would try to, if you're in a lot of fighting, when you get safe for a second, drag ammo onto your chest. We'll show more of that later. Let me go down here to the armor place real quick. You can see stuff here, like you can see some of the stuff they sell here. They sell this set here this guy's wearing. It's the dust up set, dust up armor. It's pretty popular for stuff that you can buy. It's medium. I don't know if they have heavy armor here or not. You got your sorts, so you can sort it by armor, undersuit, personal weapons, miscellaneous, more med pens. Just say you go armor, you can go by, you got backpacks. Remember, backpacks, light goes with light armor, medium goes with medium armor, heavy, and then heavy can wear heavy. If you have heavy chest piece on, you can wear all of it. If you have light, you can only wear light. Medium, you can wear medium or light, etc. Torso, yeah, we got a lot of light armor. If there's certain colors you like let's say you like this this twilight color here, I wouldn't recommend light armor, but if you like that twilight set, you may only find the chest and the legs here. The arms and the head or whatever maybe somewhere else. Okay, so there is a website you can go to look and see where certain items are located that you can buy, because they do split these colors up in different places sometimes. It's kind of a pain, but it also gets you to explore more. But yeah, so there's all the armor stuff if you want to get that. This place, the Galleria, also will have the admin station. This terminal here, if you have a Crimestat 1 or 2, this is where you can come and pay that without being, you can just pay it outright. You just log in. It's going to show you how much you owe, your total fines. You would just pay it. I don't have any. My total fines is 0, but yeah. Remember, Crimestat 1 or 2, you can pay there. If you're into trading and hauling, you may have to come here to buy stuff, or if you're selling stuff, you may have to come here to sell stuff. So you would select your inventory, your ship. Yeah, it would be your ship or the station itself if you've moved it over in the freight elevator. Okay. There's going to be restaurants and stuff upstairs as well. These stations can also have your ship weapon or ship system stuff. So like this place has a Platinum Bay. Platinum Bay is where you can buy some ship components. Okay, so whenever you use that Urkel website, it's going to tell you, oh, go to ArcL1 to pick this engine up, or go to, go down to the planet to New Babbage and buy it at, whatever store, Platinum Bay there maybe. It's going to tell you where to go to buy certain components. So that's one of the things. That's what we're going to do in the next video. We're going to go buy components for my ship, so I can just show you how that process is, because that's one of the next things you'd want to do. All right, so the L1, L2 stations, they all have refineries. This is if you're into mining. I'll show you the refinery real quick. And we're almost done. It's been a lot of information. Hope you took notes. There is a quiz. Just joking. There's no quiz. The quiz is you get out there and play. And what did he say? What do I got to do with this? What button was that? Yeah, that'll be your quiz. All right. So you have your mining support system. And by the way, these refineries are all set up the same. You just run down this main way here. Come in here. Get out of my way, dude. You see things physicalized on the wall here. So there's like the mining laser. You could actually just hold F and buy it. Don't do that. But yeah. As far as knowing what mining parts to buy, because you can, your stock loadout when you buy a mining vehicle is going to suck, I'll be honest with you. So you're going to want a better loadout. I do have a pretty good loadout for both ships, or most of the mining ships, so definitely check out some of my shorter guides that are like less than 5 minutes. This is like the only long form stuff I do. All right, so here at the refinery shop, you have categories. You have utility, which is going to be your mining stuff. You have all kinds of stuff for mining. Mining is really cool to get into. It's getting even better. I mean, it's already been in a really good state. It's one of the most fleshed out systems that's in the game because it's been out for so long. But you have different mining heads you can do that'll give you different power or different benefits. You've got different modules you can put around the lasers, which are some of these here. So you got yeah, as you can see here, you've got mining modules. That's what these are. These are going to give you different benefits like charge rate or a bigger window, because it's kind of like a little mini game you got to do. You've also got these gadgets that if the rock is like borderline and maybe you want to give your a little bit extra oomph, you can go literally leave your ship and go out and place one of these gadgets on the rock to help it, get those stats where you want them. There's a lot to mining. You've got hand mining, which you do with that multi-tool. Speaking of which, let me go ahead and buy one of those now. Where's it at? I think would it be weapon? Yeah, personal weapons. So you can buy multi-tools here, but I want to get this mining attachment. Let me buy that because we will be doing some hand mining. Let me buy a couple. Okay. All right. You can buy the SRT attachment, which is that salvage and repair that we have on. You can buy your little canisters here. These are already full if you buy them. Again, you've got tractor beams here as well. Oh, this is what we need to buy right here. Max lift tractor beam. Buy that. If you can't afford it now, you can possibly find them, and I can show you where you can find some. Again, it's a possibility. If you want one for sure, once you have 19,000 credits, you're going to want to come here. You can also buy fire extinguishers. Fire extinguishers you can place on your back, or your ship also will have one. If you're ever stranded out in space or something, you can actually use these fire extinguishers as a boost. They do run out, but you can use them for that. It's a new feature that just came out. It's pretty funny and kind of cool. But yeah, there's also a good armor set here. It's called the Aerial set. I'll show it to you what it looks like on the mannequin over there. This is a good medium set, and if you're going to do a lot of mining and stuff, it's a good set to use unless you're going to a planet that's going to have heat or cold. All right. This is that mining set I was just telling you about. It's pretty nice. It's not just mining, it's medium armor. So for right now, the stats for medium armor are pretty much the same across the board. There will be specialized sets and stats that are coming. I'd say probably within the next year, honestly, maybe this year. But yeah, so armor stats are going to be more important later, but for right now, medium is medium. Let me see if there's the other armor set real quick. The heat. Probably not. I think they moved it. Yeah, so there's a heat and there's a hot and a cold suit. The hot suit's going to be located on Hurston at Lorville. That's their main city. So if you're going to be mining out on the surface anywhere in Hurston, you're going to want to have that set. The cold set's going to be located at Microtech because that's the cold planet. So if you're going to be mining on Microtech outside, that would be what you would use. You have hand mining, like I said, which you use with that multi-tool set. Matter of fact, I just bought some stuff. Let me put that on. Dude, somebody left some stuff here. See, physicalized, right? See, they left their undersuit, they left ammo, and they left a helmet. I can grab that stuff, but I don't want it because it's crap. All right. So we just bought a tractor beam. This is the large one, so see, it goes on your back. And then I got the mining attachment. Let me split it. I'm going to leave that in my backpack. So if I come across something I can hand mine, I'm going to use that. You've also got ground vehicle mining. So there's a little four-wheeled vehicle that has a laser on it that you can drive. So you can carry that in your ship, take it to a planet, and get out and do some mining with that. There's also a little mech suit that does ground mining you can do. It does the same kind of mining as that little ground vehicle. I like the mech suit better because it moves more freely and it has like a boost jump. And then there's also ship mining. So we have a few ships that can mine. So you can mine either in space asteroids, but I prefer to find big rocks on planets that we can ship mine. So yeah, you got ground vehicles, ship mining, and hand mining. So 3 different mining types. And within 2 weeks of today, this video or whatever, they are releasing mining missions. So that's going to be like a track you can get on. You're like, oh, I want to get on the mining track, and you can start earning reputation and all that stuff, and unlock more missions and earn money, and also learn where stuff is. So anyway, that is pretty much it for this first Star Citizen Academy education session here. I hope if you're new to this, I'm pretty sure you got something out of this because I threw a lot of information out there. Um, One thing I will say is that if you're having questions like that weren't covered here, come over to my Discord. The link's down below. We're really good on educating new players there. We don't, try to ridicule you or make you feel bad for not knowing anything. And in fact, we have Friday night events to where if we have new players along, we're basically teaching them how to do things. It could be mining, it could be salvaging, industrial cargo, it could be FPS. We'll go out and do, if there's new events running along that we have to go to some of these sites and go out and actually do FPS combat. We've shown a lot of people who never did FPS combat how to do it, and they enjoy it. We make it an enjoyable place. We share loot. We're pretty good about sharing loot or giving loot to people that need it or want it. Is there something you want? We're not douchebags or anything. We're not trying to, we do rib each other and give each other hell, but it's all in good fun. We all make fun of each other for different ships that we may or may not like or whatever. So if you like that kind of atmosphere, if you want to learn how to play the game, even if you don't want to come to these events and you just want to ask questions in chat, you can sit here and ask us 20 questions. We got you covered. We also have most of the time zones covered pretty much because we have European, Australian, and we have American. So usually there's somebody on to answer a question if you need it. And even some people are pretty good about jumping in and actually helping you with things if you need help in game. Or if something happens to you and somebody's available, they'll come out and help you. But anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. And again, if you need any help, just let us know. And look for the next video. I'll see probably in another week or so. I'll probably try to get these out. I want to get as many of these out as I can before a lot of new players come in with Invictus in May. So you can pretty much expect these to be pretty much nonstop between now and then. But anyway, I've been Black. Thank you for watching, and take it easy out there as you make your way through the verse.